Body language analysis. Jussie Smollett. Even the interviewer is skeptical. This one has been one of the easiest ones I've ever had to do. The worst acting job I've ever seen. So let's begin. We're going to be looking for signs of deception. He starts the interview off by saying, "I'm really pissed off." Really? Because he was smiling? As he said he was pissed off, he was smiling. He grinds his teeth to the left in stress. He's also clenching his thumb very tightly, signs of stress. He was always looking to the left, eyes to the left, searching his brain for answers. Nothing came naturally. It was always, looking to the left. Yes, this classic example had all the earmarks of deception. Even the interviewer is sending signals of disbelief, tilting her head, side eye. Even the interviewer did not believe him. So he goes on to say, "It's the truth. Listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Really, you got to believe me. Really, you got to believe me." He repeats it 3 times. It's the truth. These are signs of deception. And again, even the interviewer was skeptical. For the most part, her shoulders were tight, the arms were crossed, her eyes were squinting. Her body language was telling us, "I just don't believe you." And her eyes were telling him, you maybe should have rehearsed better for this. So he goes on and says, "It's the truth," 2 more times. So he tells us it all started when he got to the apartment and there was no food there, so he went to Walgreens, a nervous little giggle. He thought they were open 24 hours, but they weren't. He was going to have a smoke. Looking to the left, searching for answers. And then he bites his lip. Again, he's looking to the left more times than I could count. And then he says, I guess apparently he's out there having a smoke. He says, "I heard Empire, but I'm famous." I'm thinking to myself, he thinks he's famous, but I don't answer to Empire. Here he does some acting. It was not too bad of an acting job there with the Empire bit. Then he bites his lip again. But here is where the script gets a little weak. He says he got hit in the face, but he fought back. "I punched his ass back." Oh, yeah, right. You got 2 scary masked men in front of you. They punch you in the face, and he's going to fight them both. It's just not realistic. The script is a little weak there. In reality, he's probably going to run. The smartest thing would be to run. But no, he wants us to believe that he's a real tough guy, that he fought him off. And again, even the interviewer found that hard to believe. And she says, "Well, how long did this all last?" And he said about 30 seconds. He said, "Well, then it just stopped, and they ran away. It just stopped. He fought off 2 masked men. It took him 30 seconds. They ran off." This is another lie. Anybody who's been in a fight knows it seems to last forever. It never stops. 50 seconds could feel like 50 minutes. So his time frames don't match up to anybody who's ever been in a fight. So the numbers are not realistic there. He would not know this because he's probably never been in a fight. He overemphasizes too much that, yes, I was a tough guy. I fought them off in 30 seconds. They ran away. There's just too much overemphasis there. It's a sign of deception, especially when you're crying. People who cry like that are not normally tough fighters. And a little later in the interview, he re-emphasizes, "I'm not weak. I'm not weak. I cry, but I'm not weak." It just did not look legitimate. And then there was the part where the nose started flaring, another sign of deception, the nostrils flaring. He said, "I'm glad we called the police." But in reality, after all of this, I don't think he was glad he called the police at all. And the interviewer, her eyebrows, her looks, her body language, all of it was showing the look of skepticism. She did not, her subconsciously, she did not believe it. I don't know what she was feeling consciously, but subconsciously, her body language was telling us something's not right here. So, like I said before, in many ways, the body language of the interviewer is much more telling than the acting of Jussie. Now, where the script gets really bad is the part where he says, okay, it lasted 30 seconds, I fought them off, and then after they're gone, he finally figures out that there's a rope around his neck. Okay? Now, this is where it just doesn't get believable. And even the interviewer, she's saying, and you didn't even notice it before? We go on to find out that he really didn't want to call the cops, but he left the rope around his neck until the police got there. Now, none of that makes any sense either. But he says, well, you got to understand, it's Chicago, and it's the wintertime, and it's cold. Actually, that's about the only thing I believed in the whole interview. Yes, it was Chicago, it is the wintertime, and it's very cold there. That's about the only thing I really believed in his whole interview. It did go on to say that he handed over a heavily redacted phone. Okay? The police asked for his phone. He did not want to give it to them because, well, his partner's numbers on there and all kind of other things about, people's personal numbers on there. He didn't want the police to have it for 3 hours, but later on he gave them a heavily redacted phone. Now, this is not a sign of truth-telling. This is a sign of deception. And that's really what our goal is here today, to find out the truth through body language and studying facial expressions. I mean, we're not here to persecute anybody. I don't know what happened that night. All I know is by studying the body language that something's not right. There are signs of deception, and I'm not the only one who sees it. But that's all we can do for now.